I probably won't remember much. I got drunk after every race.
Huh?
I got drunk after every race and forgot everything. I love this sport because whenever you get on the podium, you get to drink lots of alcohol afterwards. Or if you don't get on the podium, you get to drown your sorrows in alcohol. I think my story into mountain biking was a bit different from like Nico or some of the other top guys. They all came into it wanting to be world champion, wanting to win from day one, really. I came into it, I was 18. I never really raced juniors much and came into it when I was 18. So I was quite a late starter, really, to start racing mountain biking. And I think that's one of the reasons that's kept me in it for so long. I've really enjoyed every race that I've done. It's a travelling family. The whole pits, the whole bunch of racers that are up there on the hill. Everyone looks out for each other. Everyone talks to each other.
Do you think it's a way of life then?
Downhill mountain biking has definitely been a way of life for me, yeah, and still is to this day.
Yeah. But like, some racers might say, there's other things as well in their life, but it's a bit like farming, that is it.
There's other things in my life, but mountain biking did turn into my job, but I've never felt like it was a job. And my first World Cup was in, I can't remember the name of the town now, but it was in Germany, 94. It was 94 in Germany. Me, Andrew Titley and Simon Kurtzarten, maybe, travelled together and raced, yeah. There was like a BMX-y section up top with some sort of rollers and jumps and pumping. Felt really good, and my chain came off over those rollers and pumps like in qualifying, I think. So I need to find out where I finished at that race, actually.
Yeah, I'll find out for you.
No, I think I qualified and then chain might have come off in my race run right at the top of the track. Yeah, the tracks have changed a lot. That's one thing that I don't really like these days. I mean, this track here in Val di Sole is absolutely awesome, but it's kind of an old school track. Get some mic! He crashed, didn't he, last run? He's hit his ankle.
Oh, really? It's old school, but it's a little bit more open than old school. It's like it's different.
It is definitely. There's a few actual tighter turns than there were on this track last year, so it looks really good this year. But yeah, all those sort of off-camber turns where you've got to get over some roots and up round a tree and then set back up for another turn. There's none of that now. It's all flat out.
That's what it's about, though. It's setting up. That's
For me, it is, yeah. Yeah, setting up, trying to get around a corner, getting your weight right onto between your travel tyres and everything, just making it grip and making it get set up so you can get around the next corner quicker. That's what mountain biking was for me when I first started. Yeah, now there's not a lot of things on track that actually challenge the riders. I think now that the field is a lot deeper, and some of the guys that train really hard and don't necessarily have the same skill as some of the guys at the top can get a result because the track doesn't lend itself to needing the actual fundamental skills of getting around an off-camber corner or getting over a bunch of roots. Yeah, my favourite track of all time is Slovenia in, I think it was 98. It had a little bit of everything, that track. High speed up top, big jumps, huge berms. Then you went into like a really rooty wood, in and out of dips and round trees and stuff like that, tight stuff. Then it opened up a little bit at the bottom into, I think they call it the Star Wars section. And it just had everything on that track. It had a little bit of everything. And tracks are not like that now. They're all really samey and one sort of style. I'd say some of my least favourite tracks have come a lot later in my career. They all used to be pretty good back in the day, but the last few years, really, my last year racing last year, that some of the tracks just don't do it for me.
You do want to name them?
Well, Leogang. Fort William's a weird track. It was a lot better this year, but because we've raced it for so long, I don't know, I think the racers have got a bit stale on that track. it's so thin, it's so like one-liney. It's just you just got to go on that track. There's no real sort of skill apart from letting it go quick.
Is it time for the World Cup in the UK to go to some dirty Welsh woods?
I'd love the World Cup to go to a better track in UK. Maybe not Wales, but my most memorable win? It's probably my first one, really. Nah, that's not true, because I didn't quite expect it on that day. And
Right?
yeah, Snoqualmie, 98. It was, obviously it was my first win. It was the first time that I thought, right, that's it, I can take everybody on in the world and be the fastest on the day. But I kind of didn't expect it at that race. It just came. But I guess the races that you know that you can win and everything falls into place are the ones that mean a lot more to you. Fort William was absolutely massive. I'd qualified first. It was all laid out there, and I won. But it was absolutely unreal winning in Fort William. The noise of the crowd. I'm still overwhelmed by that win today. Like the noise of the crowd when I went into that finish arena was absolutely unreal. 20,000 people there just cheering for me, and I got so emotional in that finish area and didn't know what to do with myself. It was weird. I've never been like that in any other situation. Really cool.
Still makes the hairs.
It does, yeah. Right. It's a good memory. There's plenty for me that I feel that I should have won. Races that I've got away, little mistakes here and there, but it's part of racing and you have to move on. I think what makes a strong athlete is putting those little mistakes behind you as quick as possible. Moving on to the next week. You've got another World Cup coming up. You can't dwell too much on what happened that weekend. Yeah, Greg is one of the athletes that can actually, when a problem comes up, he deals with it awesome, and I think it actually takes his mind off being nervous for the track, and he lifts his game. I think that everybody has a bike in their career that sort of suits them down to a T. That maybe it's that 1 year or it's that few years. Sam Hill, when he was on the Iron Horse, I think him and that bike just gelled like that year or that few years, and he just could do anything he wanted on it, and it just fitted. For myself, I've always adapted to the situation a little bit more like that, so I've always just got on and done the best I can on the bike that I've got. I don't always want for more. I want to make the best out of what's happening at the time, so I don't always try and think that's shit, I want to move on and get another bike. So yeah, you've got to be happy in your situation and what you're riding, and then try and maximise on it.
What has been in your World Cup career? What's been this most significant advancement in terms of bikes for you?
In my World Cup career, probably disc brakes. I used to go down the hill on V-brakes. Way easier to stop when we got them disc brakes.
Oh, hellfire. Okay, we know you there.
Suspension too. When I raced World Champs in 1993, before I'd even done any World Cup or anything, I went to Metabf on a rigid bike, full rigid. Kona UK offered me a pair of suspension forks just before I went, and I turned them down because I'd been riding rigid all year. Went out to this massive hill in France, thinking it was like a little hill in England, and crashed because I didn't have any suspension on the front. It's a pretty tough one to answer, really. Whether you ride at 100%, some people like to say they ride at 110%, but I don't really see it like that. I just see it as I'm giving my all. I mean, yeah, if you're not riding at 100%, then you're not giving it a proper go, are you? I think there's definitely races where I've pushed over 100% and crashed and gone too far. But the whole 100% thing, I mean, you could take it back to like first day of practice or even walking the track. You're doing all this work to be the best you can on one run at the end of a weekend. So if you're not putting 100% in each day building up to that, then you're not trying properly, are you? No, I don't think there is. I've enjoyed my career, and I've taken myself really seriously, but everything surrounding it I've tried to not take so seriously because I want to enjoy it, and I think that's why I've stayed in for the sport for a lot longer. People like Gwyn said he was going to retire in a couple of years because he got what he wanted out of the sport, and I'm not like that. I'm in the sport for the long run, and it's in my heart.